And sometimes you're going to find yourself in a weird position where the people that you know are bad influences, the people that you know will not help you when things go south, they are more attractive, charismatic, cool, fun than the other people, right? And sometimes these very charismatic friends, these very charismatic people in your life who bring you down or who will not help you if you're in trouble, you hold on to them because you think, well, maybe next time, or, or you think to yourself, I don't want to cut them out because, I'll be lonely. Trust me, take this from my own experience. It is better to be alone than in bad company. We're social creatures. We're social animals. We need one another, whether we like it or not. A lot of people prefer to think that they live and they don't need anybody, but that's bullshit. You'll find as you get older or get a little distance that the people around you influence you. There's a saying, you are the company you keep. Well, that's very true. See, the people you are with can benefit you, can influence you rather, for good or for ill. Sometimes you're going to notice that there are people who influence you for the better, in ways large and small. But there's also going to be a time when you're going to realize that somebody influences you for the worse, that they make you unhappy, or they influence you into becoming somebody different from whom you'd like to be. Now, a lot of immature people are going to say, oh no, I am completely independent and nobody in my life influences me. Bullshit. Bullshit. See, everybody in your life influences you. You're with, just for the sake of argument, you're there with a nun, a Catholic nun. And something happens and you're struck by some dirty joke that you heard years ago that you think would be perfectly apropos for the moment. But of course, you're with a Catholic nun. You're not going to say this dirty joke. You want to. You think it would be funny, it would get a laugh, and maybe it would. But you self-censor yourself. You don't express that humor because it's not appropriate, because she is influencing you by her mere presence. You change, you modify who you are. Now, of course, this happens even more with friends that you have. You have friends, like, for instance, you have psycho friends who like to go skydiving and, riding on motorcycles too fast and doing all kinds of off-piste skiing and shit like that, right? So you do it, even though maybe it makes you nervous. Maybe you're thinking to yourself, why am I doing this? But you do it anyway because they're influencing you. We are constantly searching for the approval of other people. And I'm not talking in a psychotic way. I'm talking in a very natural way that we like the people, we want the people around us to like us. And so sometimes we do things that are not perhaps our first impulse, but we know that they would make the other person happy. I'm not talking about a lover, I'm talking about anybody. A parent, a casual friend, a sibling, a passerby, the random nun who just happens to be sitting at the bus stop with you. It could be anybody. We are constantly regulating ourselves and changing ourselves, modifying ourselves because of the people around us. Some people are just bad influences on us. Either they bring out the worst in us, they almost encourage us to act in ways that we later come to regret, or they themselves have personalities that hurt us, that cause us harm. Now, I'm here to tell you, when you meet such people, you have to cut them out. You have to cut them out of your life, no matter how close they may be to you. See? You don't want to have a life that is subtly guided by bad influences. Who you are is the company you keep. And if you have a bad influence in your life, if you have somebody who is toxic, who brings you down, who makes you miserable, cut them off. Cut them out of your life. You don't need them. See? When I say, a bad influence, it sounds as if I'm saying, if you hanging out with these hoodlums, right, or something like that. No. It can be very, very subtle. For instance, you can be with a girlfriend of yours, and you tell her your plans, and you say, oh, I'm thinking of, getting into this line of work. And she says something like, oh, but it's so hard, Or you can have a parent who says to your plans and dreams, he says, oh, that's not for you, you're not smart enough. Something, maybe they don't say something's that obvious, but it's that subtle thing sometimes that brings you down. So you have to be careful of such people who can bring you down, easily bring you down with their quote unquote negativity. What that negativity usually is they are afraid that you will succeed. See, a lot of times people who bring you down that way, who say, oh, that goal that you have in mind is so impossible, they are afraid that you will succeed because they themselves have goals of their own that they have decided not to pursue. See? So you have to stay away from such people. Or at least, if you can't stay away from such people because of reasons, then you have to make sure that they don't influence you and bring you down. You don't tell them your plans, because you know that if you tell them your plans, they're going to bring you down and poke holes in those plans and kill the enthusiasm. Because so much of life, so much of plans and things that you want to accomplish depends on enthusiasm. See? On your mood, not your ability. See? Because a lot of times, most of the times, you're going to find that you do not have the ability to do something that you want to do. You don't have the ability. And yet you pursue it, and in that pursuit, you gain the ability to do it. You see what I mean? So a lot of times, you're just going on mood, on vibe, on desire. See? And you're pursuing something, trying to achieve something, anybody who brings you down will throw you off your path. Because just on your talents, on what your CV says, you can't accomplish some goal. But your enthusiasm, your energy, your drive pushes you to learn all the things necessary to achieve it. If that enthusiasm is cut by somebody in your life, then it's over. It's over before it's begun. There are two kinds of people who you should cut out of your life. The people who bring you down, who change your mood, right? To the negative, of course. Because, of course, those people who bring you up, who give you that energy, whom you say to them, I'm thinking of doing this, and they say, yeah, you should do that because you can do it. You have to do these different steps. Those people, you want to keep them in your life. Most definitely. Those people you want in your life. Those people who are cheerleaders, right? They're cheerleaders and they egg you on, okay? And a lot of times all you need is one good cheerleader in your life to accomplish some goal. But the anti-cheerleaders, you've got to cut them off. You've got to cut them off. You have to cut off those people who bring you down. I've spoken that I am no longer in contact with my own parents. My father, he was just bad energy, just bring me down. And on the other hand, my mother, and this is the second kind of person that you should cut out. See, you have to be careful about those people whom you cannot depend on, especially the people close to you. The people that are closest to you, why are they close to you? Why do you need them? Because when the shit hits the fan, when things are going south, when you really need somebody to help you, you have to be sure that they're going to help you. Now, you can have some sibling, some parent, some wife, whomever, that you think you can depend on. But you're never really going to know until you actually need them. See? You hope that they'll come through. But see, if they don't come through when you really need it, and they know that you really need it, that you're in trouble and you need their help, whatsoever that help may be, I'm not talking necessarily about money. There are other things, much more important things in terms of support that you can give, that you need sometimes, and that you will need in your life. If they cannot give you that support when you desperately need it, you don't want them around in your life. Because what's the point? Because ultimately you have to understand what friendship, what relationships are all about. They are to help one another. We are here to help one another get through life, right? Help each other the best way we can. Some people simply can't help you. For instance, you had some business deal and you need $200,000. And your best friend Joe, your best friend since you were kids, well, he barely has a pot to piss in. Yeah, you can't go and hit him up for 200 grand, right? I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you have a friend who has the ability, who can do something, and they don't. I had a good friend, a guy called Paul. I knew him since I was 15 years old. We were close, real close. I nursed him through his divorce. I helped him out in a lot of different ways, large and small. Not with money, he was very well off, but with just help and assistance, and I watched his back. Because things happen. But anyway, one day something happened to me that I needed advice. I gave him a call. I said, Paul, I really need your advice because something really crucial is going down. And it's really complicated. And I need your advice, your help, because you're a wise counsel. And he's like, sure, no problem. Let's get together the weekend. And he disappeared. And I really needed him. And he knew that I needed him. And then later, when everything was great, everything had worked out fine, you know, he gave me a call, hey, I heard that everything worked out great on your thing and whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck are you calling me for? Because this wasn't the first time that Paul had pulled this stunt on me. This thing of you know, of disappearing when he was really needed, you know. He was like bankers, you know, bankers, they lend you an umbrella when it's sunny outside, and then they take it away when it starts to rain. Guys like that, you know, those people who claim to be your friends, who claim to be close to you, but whom you really can't depend on, whom, you know, when things go south, will not be there to help. They'll only be there when you're in the champagne room, right? Those people, you got to cut them out. You got to cut them out and make room for the people who can really help you or are willing to help you when you really need it. And sometimes you're going to find yourself in a weird position where the people that you know are bad influences, the people that you know will not help you when things go south, they are more attractive, charismatic, cool, fun than the other people, right? And it's really tempting. You say, well, you know, like with Paul, for instance, you say, well, you know, Paul, you know, this time, you know, but this time. This had been like, I don't know how many times over the decades, because I knew this guy for decades. And finally, I just had enough. He was just a fair weather friend. I guess this is just a very complicated way of saying, you know, avoid fair weather friends. But it's sort of like looking at the psychology of it, see? And sometimes these very charismatic friends, these very charismatic people in your life who bring you down or who will not help you if you're in trouble, you hold on to them because you think, well, maybe next time, or, you know, or you think to yourself, I don't want to cut them out because, you know, I'll be lonely. Trust me, take this from my own experience. It is better to be alone than in bad company. It is better to be on your own than to be with people who will not help you if you really need it. It is better to be alone than with people who will bring you down. And it's very difficult to accept that, but it's true. So, cut people out of your life if need be. Okay? And those people who lift you up, those people who have helped you when you were down and whom you know will help you again, you hold on to them. You will hold on to them for dear life, because good friends are more precious than jewels.